Though Bowser seems to be in the midst of a kidnapping or world domination on a regular basis, the Mario sports franchises show that the Mushroom Kingdom is a pretty friendly place. Even the villains are invited to compete in a pickup game of basketball or to hit the links in golf. At the same time, Mario's sports franchises across the Switch lifespan have been notably lackluster, offering slick presentation but very straightforward mechanics. Mario Tennis Fever, the first sports game as part of the Switch 2 generation, suggests that Nintendo has learned its lesson, offering a great new hook that is flexible enough to make for a wild party game atmosphere, while also rewarding skilled players with another layer of substance.
You're getting better!
1-0.
The core mechanics of Mario Tennis have remained unchanged across several games. Different buttons are assigned to shots like top spins and flats, while quick 2-button combos exist for some of the more specialized shots like drops and lobs. You can press a button slightly early to start charging your next shot, or double tap for a power shot. Choosing which shot to use and where to aim it, along with where you position yourself on the court to be prepared for the return, creates the essential rock, paper, scissors loop that makes these games a lightly skill-based experience. It's approachable, but with a higher skill ceiling than you may expect. But for the last several iterations, Mario Tennis has also been experimenting with new gimmicks and special powers, inching ever closer to making Mario Tennis more like Mario Kart, a game with effects so big and impactful that you really shouldn't take the competitive part too seriously. This time, the major new component is Fever Rackets, a wide selection of special rackets with their own wild game-altering effects. While you can play with standard rackets for a purer tennis experience, the Fever Rackets help to elevate this into an arcade sports experience while still demanding skilled play. It's just a different kind of skill, as you're required to juggle your own special effects and avoid your opponents while also planning your next shots. The Fever Rackets have a massive impact on competitive play and offer an engaging way to make up for any deficits in your favorite character. For example, a gold dash racket gives you a burst of speed to cross the entire court and reach the most difficult shots, which makes it ideal for slower characters who could otherwise struggle with positioning. The Shadow Racket produces a temporary shadow double to let you split up your fielding duties. Though these rackets might sound overpowered, you can't use them whenever you want. Throughout a volley, your fever meter progressively fills, so selecting when and how to use your special ability is just as important as choosing your character and racket. This could have effectively made every character play the same, but I found that not to be the case. Instead, it was that much more fun to explore different character and racket synergies to find your perfect match. Most of the rackets also create a danger zone on your opponent's side of the field, be it an ice hazard, a spewing volcano, a hovering thwomp, or something else equally disruptive. A mini mushroom racket scatters little mushrooms on the field, causing characters to shrink if they touch them. In each of these cases, you need to carefully navigate around the hazards while also fielding the ball normally as best you can. It can feel frustrating when you're scored on because your opponent hit the ball right into the middle of a hazard, but that's also what brings out the arcadey fun, and the sheer variety of hazards gives the game longevity, letting you experiment with different combinations of characters and rackets.
And then, Pauline!
You start with just 6 Fever Rackets, each boasting a fairly basic effect to get you warmed up to the idea. Each of these are introduced as you make your way through the Adventure mode, which is presented as a combination story mode and tennis primer. It's relatively substantial compared to recent Mario sports games lasting roughly 5 hours. In Adventure, Mario and his pals are preparing for a big Mushroom Kingdom tennis tournament when Daisy gets sick. Wario and Luigi tell Mario's group about a magical golden fruit that could heal Daisy, but, of course, they have ulterior motives that become clear as the story goes on. On the journey for the fruit, Mario, Luigi, Peach, Wario, and Waluigi run into a monstrous curse and get turned into babies. Undeterred, baby Mario goes through a tennis academy to get his strength up, and then sets about finding the ruins again in order to break the curse, with a variety of challenges that all happen to be tennis-themed. The story is cute and charming, and occasionally pretty funny when it comes to baby Wario and Waluigi being conniving jerks.
Yeah!
Adventure starts by walking you through the basics, but even in the beginning, it introduces an impressive amount of variety to mix up your activities. You'll learn a new shot type and then go off to play a minigame themed around strength training for that particular skill, or take a short quiz about the game mechanics. You only need to finish the first difficulty level of each strength training exercise to proceed, but there are 2 additional tiers for each one, and getting through them all will net you extra experience and stat upgrades. But the real appeal is just testing yourself with a tougher challenge. You'll then be given a practical test, aka a tennis match, which you'll need to win in order to rise through the ranks of the academy and ultimately graduate. Once the world map unfolds, you'll get to venture to different areas, discovering new tennis minigames and boss fights as you do. A lot of these encounters test the same core tennis skills, but each one's presentation is distinct and finds clever new ways to challenge your tennis expertise, like aiming at moving enemies or blowing away rocks with a tornado shot. You're also leveling up frequently across the adventure mode, which is less impactful than I'd hoped. I could sense some degree of getting more powerful in the very early tutorial areas, but as I rose into higher levels, it became harder and harder to discern any difference. I took the game's word that Baby Mario was getting faster and that his shots were getting stronger, but the differences were too minute to detect. By the end of the story, my Baby Mario was around level 40, and the game still felt essentially the same as it had when I started at level 10. Completing the adventure mode will get you a decent start toward unlocking characters and rackets, and unlocking them all is the primary motivation behind trying different modes and sharpening your skills. For the most part, you unlock everything by simply experimenting with different modes, and those are plentiful. There are 3 tournaments across each singles and doubles play, as well as 3 towers that put you through a gauntlet of challenges, each requiring you to complete 10 challenges before failing 3 times. Then there are the special modes like competitive or cooperative ring shot, where your volleys rack up points by aiming through moving rings, or the forest court match that expands the play area as you volley. There are also a variety of special courts, some of which make their return from past Mario Tennis games. Some of them, like the airship, are just cool cosmetic set pieces, while others actually change up the gameplay. The Waluigi pinball court spawns bumpers and paddles, and the Racket Factory randomly produces new fever rackets to use. The new Wonder Court replaces traditional tennis scoring with collecting Wonder Seeds, and occasionally produces a Wonder Flower above the net that can be hit to trigger a special effect, like shifting pipes or singing piranha plants. Since the central mechanic of the fever rackets is so strong, it's nice to have so many different permutations of modes and challenge types to explore with them. Then, on top of all of this is the multiplayer, which lets you test these skills in person or online. My experience with the online multiplayer was mixed, but also limited to a pre-release play session. There was some definite lag in the first few minutes, but that cleared up fairly quickly, and the rest of the session felt as clean and natural as couch co-op. The sheer variety of different modes made it fun to hop around with a group, and the game chat integration worked well for keeping us connected on mic, though given the early lag, I didn't dare attempt screen sharing. In addition to chat capabilities, Mario Tennis Fever features another quintessential Nintendo gimmick as well, the ability to detach your Joy-Con controllers for a swing mode that emulates Wii and Switch sports. This is relegated to a separate mode, so it has relatively fewer play options that exists in the scope of the broader game, but it still works well enough with the Joy-Cons recognizing your swings. I can't imagine it being much more than a short diversion for all but the most devoted Wii Sports tennis enthusiasts, though. Mario's various dalliances into sports have been inconsistent, often because they feel so bare bones and perfunctory. Mario Tennis Fever breaks this trend with a multitude of modes and a playful, flexible gimmick that makes it more wild and unpredictable while also testing your tennis skills in a new way. It's the best a Mario sports game has been in years, and hopefully charts a new course going forward for the Mushroom Kingdom's other sporting events.